Miley's old crush bids on a date with Hannah Montana.
$15,000.
Sold!
And their dream date becomes a nightmare.
Say hello to drop-dead gorgeous. I take
Corbin Blue guest stars on an all-new Hannah Montana. Tonight at 8, 7 Central, part of Disney Channel's Wiztober.
Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of Escape from Vault Disney, the podcast where we review movies, TV shows, and short films available on Disney Plus, chosen completely at random. I am your host, Tony Goldmark. Joining us today in person is Morgan Funder.
Hello, hello, hello.
David Ganssle.
You've never seen me and Doggins in the same place at the same time.
And Luke Ski.
You've been watching Meet the Deedles. I feel bad for you, son, because I got 99 episodes and a Sith is one.
And this week, the randomizer, in its infinite wisdom, has picked Hannah Montana, Season 2, Episode 29. We're all on this date together. What is everybody in this room's connection to the show Hannah Montana, if any?
I know it by reputation, and that's pretty much it.
As do I.
I was too old for its target demographic.
I was too old and too male and too cishet for this show. But it was one of those shows that was so huge that even if you didn't watch the Disney Channel, you still knew it existed.
I also remember it in connection to the Hillary Duff
Well, this
series.
came a little ways after Hillary Duff.
I mean, I was in high school by the time this show was huge, so I was out of that demographic, but I existed in the world, and you couldn't watch anime all the time back then because you had to buy them individually on DVDs at Suncoast, and they were expensive. Kids today with their crunchy rolls don't know how good they have it.
I miss Suncoast.
That was
But
nice.
I just remember seeing promos for Hannah Montana and being vaguely aware that it was a thing that was out there. And I'm like, oh, so it's sort of like if they took Lizzie McGuire and made her a pop star.
Luke, any connection to Hannah Montana whatsoever?
Is this one of the shows where we see all the teenage girl feet? Is this one of those type shows?
No, this is not a Dan Schneider show.
Oh, okay. We have to talk about those on the Escape from Dan Schneider podcast.
Many people have tried to escape from Dan Schneider.
Dan Schneider's that guy who used to be on SNL and now is a Trumper.
No.
right?
Dan Schneider was the fat kid on Head of the Class.
Oh, that Dan Schneider. I've seen exactly one episode of Hannah Montana in my life, and it was the episode with Gilbert Gottfried. I remember in the mid-2000s, I was on a huge Gilbert Gottfried kick for a while. I had my TiVo. Remember TiVo, kids? I had my TiVo set to record everything with him in it, and that included an episode of Hannah Montana where he played, if I remember correctly, a music critic named Barney Bittman, which I like to assume is a reference to the SCTV character Bobby Bittman.
I understood exactly none of that.
Oh, hi, it's me. I heard you call my name.
God
Hi.
damn it.
I'm here to be on the show now. I'll have lots of things to say for several hours. You'll enjoy editing this for the next 3 months.
Someone grab the proton pack.
I know that Hannah Montana was basically to Disney Channel sitcoms what High School Musical was to the DComs.
Right. It was a huge breakout hit. And the first we heard about Hannah Montana basically was that it starred Miley Cyrus, who was the daughter of Billy Ray Cyrus, who we only knew from the one-hit wonder Achy Breaky Heart in the early 90s. And now apparently his daughter is on this show and he's on it too. He plays her dad on the series.
And her character is named Miley.
The idea is that she's this teenage girl who's also secretly a pop star, I think. I feel like that's the premise of this.
I believe so. It's a classic sitcom for children idea of you have a normal life, but there's also this one wish fulfillment element
Sure.
of your life. And in most cable children's sitcoms, that wish fulfillment element is some sort of magic.
Right.
But here, I think it's just fame and anonymity at the same time.
And then she gets a job at the Daily Bugle, and Jay Jonah's like, I need you to get pictures of Hannah Montana.
Right.
Really, get out there, or you're fired.
And of course, because she's a pop star in the show, that gave them a perfect excuse to release albums and send her on tour and make her a pop star in real life, too. And she became a major, major act, and she still is to this day.
It seems to have mostly picked up where the Spice Girls left off after they imploded.
This was about 10 years after the Spice Girls.
Things happen in the order in which I perceive them.
It went Spice Girls and then the whole Britney, Christina, late 90s teen pop phase, which went away for a while, but then came back with Miley Cyrus and other Disney Channel stars like Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato.
It was Disney perfecting their duplication process, carefully shaping the ideal photogenic triple threat Disney Channel starlet.
I think what was going on is they had the other version of the Mickey Mouse Club, and that's where Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears
Right.
and Christina Aguilera all came from, and then Disney watches them go off into their grown-up careers and make all this money and get all this fame, and they're like, hey, you know what? If we're going to have kids be on our shows, we should be cultivating that and having them be like our stable of stars.
Sign them to a Hollywood Records contract right off the bat.
So even when they rebel against their Disney image, they're still making Disney money.
Yeah, and that's another aspect of the Miley Cyrus story that cannot be ignored, because if you weren't following her closely, if you were just kind of vaguely aware of her, then it felt like one minute she was this bright, sunny, G-rated pop star, and the next minute she was naked on a wrecking ball and twerking at the VMAs, and for better or worse, she completely reinvented herself as this over-the-top, almost parody of an over-sexualized pop star.
I was one of the people on the Facebook groups who defended that, specifically talking about the VMA performance with Robin Thicke.
Right.
Yes, it wasn't pleasant to watch, but I also think that's not what she was going for. I remember watching that and being like, okay, the only thing I'm dead certain of is she is doing everything she possibly can to leave Hannah Montana in the past. If that's the message that she went out there to send, I'm getting that message.
I think if there's one thing we've learned from Britney Spears, it's that living your adolescent life in the public eye is really difficult for anybody, and figuring out how you're going to redefine
It's
yourself.
a breeze. She was having so much fun in those videos.
Figuring out how
She
you're
was
gonna...
a schoolgirl. She was dancing her heart out. There was nothing going on behind the scenes. What are you talking about?
Nothing creepy. I've never heard of Lou Pearlman.
The one other thing I was aware of about Miley Cyrus was the song Party in the USA, and I only knew about it because Weird Al parodied it as Party in the CIA.
Which is objectively just a better song.
It really is. Party in the USA I always thought was garbage, and Al made it bearable. And also, it was Al's first time having parodied both a father and daughter musical act, because he parodied Billy Ray Cyrus's Achy Breaky Heart as Achy Breaky Song back in the 90s.
I wrote a blog post over a decade ago where I was just doing like a line-by-line literal analysis of the lyrics of Party in the USA, just because I had a friend group who was really into that song only semi-ironically, and I just could not stand
They're
it.
the most insipid lyrics I've ever heard in a song.
And then the song Friday came along.
People only liked Friday ironically. People seem to actually like Party in the USA sincerely for some appalling reason. So anyway, the episode we are watching today is Hannah Montana Season 2, Episode 29. We're all on this date together, and the description says, a celebrity date with Hannah is auctioned off at a fundraiser. I really hope this goes really dark and just becomes that review episode with Forrest McNeil where he goes on that date with Ashley Tisdale.
With
but-
other Disney Channel star Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this premise could lead to some really creepy scenarios, but it probably won't. Or at least it only will subtextually.
Oh, I expect subtextual creepiness from any Disney Channel children's show.
Absolutely.
I'm expecting the classic sitcom situation where both Miley and Hannah have dates on the same night, so they need to keep switching out.
She's going to Mrs. Doubtfire it.
Yeah, and at some point she's going to come out and she's
And then
going to
she's-
have half her wig on and look like Cruella DeVille.
And then bringing back the J. Jonah Jameson motif, she's going to Mrs. Doubt rehire it. So please enjoy this beautiful music, folks, and we will be right back with our thoughts on Hannah Montana, Season 2, Episode 29. We're all on this date together, right here on Escape from Vault Disney.
Featuring celebrity date Gilbert Gottfried.
Fuck off.
Come on home. See what's waiting for you. Waiting for you.
Okay, we just watched Hannah Montana, Season 2, Episode 29. We're all on this date together. Yeah, if I had to do this shit when I was a kid, I'd probably end up naked on a wrecking ball too.
Everybody go to jail. Straight to jail.
This was alternately insipid and creepy, but also it was just a really fucking bad, rote, generic sitcom. Like, I get that the kids watching this mostly haven't been watching real sitcoms yet.
And the kids in this episode haven't seen many sitcoms either, apparently.
Since they don't recognize Ray Romano, but we'll get to that.
Can you imagine how crushed the spirit of the comedy writer who wrote this needed to be?
Comedy writers' spirits are pre-crushed before they work for It's a Laugh
Yes, but they're
Productions,
usually pre-crushed in a way that makes them funnier. I know comedians as a species gave up on life a long time ago, but imagine being a professional writer who does this for a living, makes good union salary doing it.
The hijinks in this episode were so much less interesting than the cliche hijinks we predicted would be in this episode.
Yeah, they're just as creepy.
In this episode's favor, this is the only sitcom hijink I've ever seen where I could definitively look at the scenario and say, this is all Donny Osmond's fault.
By the way, not only did the kids not recognize who Ray Romano is, no one in that room seemed to know who Ray Romano is because no one bid on the dinner with him. But Miley made a reference to Donnie and Marie.
Because she's from Nashville, so she's Southern.
She's a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll. Is that even legal?
In this economy?
I mean, yeah, Donny
I'm a little bit depressed.
Donny Osmond apparently playing himself.
I'm a little bit going to jail.
Was the auctioneer in the opening scene where they're in some function where they're saving the beaches. That's all we know about it. There's a banner that says save the beaches.
The beaches being played by a pile of sand in a soundstage.
The description for this episode says, a celebrity date with Hannah is auctioned off at a fundraiser. That's the first 2 minutes of this episode. That's before the opening title sequence.
Right. That's
all
the
that
cold
action
open.
happens. This episode starts so quickly that I thought maybe there was some weird glitch in Disney Plus and that we started halfway through the episode because they explain nothing. We barely see that sign that says save the beaches, and then there's Donny Osmond with no introduction of here's your hostmaster, Donny Osmond.
Yeah, that's particularly baffling because obviously we all know who Donny Osmond is, but the average kid watching this probably didn't.
And then we immediately cut to the Ray Romano's here. Who? Third base. That whole shit. When the episode was over, I asked, can you please just start from the beginning again so that I can confirm that that was actually how this episode started?
You know how when you're watching bad comedy, time seems to dilate and contract at the same time?
Yeah.
And you're not sure how long you've been watching?
I didn't laugh a single time at this episode, I don't think.
I got a few mild chuckles out of some takes to the camera or some slapstick moments that were just so broad and so ridiculous and so removed from reality that I kind of enjoyed the audacity of them.
You know what it reminded me of? Reminded me of Meet the Deedles. Remember, you said there's a certain kind of depression where you can tell no one who was making it was having any fun.
We're the same group of people who saw Meet the Deedles.
This is a Meet the Deedles reunion.
This is our Meet the Deedles
We're getting what we
encore.
deserve.
Did Ray Romano have something in his contracts at this time that everything he was in just fucking shits on him? The deprecation towards him in this was very similar to his cameo as himself in a movie released around the same time, Funny People.
I wrote that in my notes. This is feeling like the tepid version of his Funny People cameo.
Ray Romano's bothering you? Who? Ray who? Ray Romano, the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond?
I don't give a fuck what show he's on. I'll fuck this motherfucker up, man.
I have no doubt, by the way, that Ray Romano was just doing this so his kids would think he was cool. Which is kind of a weird way to make your kids think you're cool, is to put yourself in a show where you're just getting dumped on and you're in a room where no one knows who you are.
You know, the guy with the big nose never does what his wife tells him. On TV for 9 years.
Nope, never heard of it.
It's kind of a sad irony that if they actually wanted to have a moment where someone did know who Ray Romano was, all he had to do was say, I was the mammoth in Ice Age. Oh, I know you. Disney wouldn't have allowed that back then because, Ice Age is from another company. But now Disney owned and dismantled that company and owns Ice Age. So it would have been fine in the long run.
And they're making Ice Age content without that dismantled company. Thanks a lot, Disney. Fucking assholes. Although I will say, fun fact, the execs at 20th Century Fox had no faith in the original Ice Age. They didn't think it was going to be a successful movie, and they tried selling it to Disney. They tried saying, hey, we don't know what to do with this movie. Do you guys want to buy this thing off us? And Disney was like, nah, we're not interested either. And then they release it anyway, and it becomes this huge franchise.
Disney took one look at that first Ice Age and said, we already released Monsters, Inc.
Yeah, exactly.
All of the stuff that is crammed into this cold open, they give no explanation as to why Hannah's two best friends are dressed in these weird 40s costumes when nobody else in the room is dressed that way. The boy there is dressed like he's the first understudy for Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. It's
he
weird.
looks like Pimp Dick Tracy is what he looks like. I mean,
so basically Dick Tracy.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you got the girl dressed in like an 80s costume with like a
I was thinking she looked like a vampire flapper.
Yeah, she had kind of a Velma Kelly look to her.
Yeah.
Did they think this was a costume party or something?
But like an undead Velma Kelly, because she was wearing a snowy white wig for some reason.
That's why it feels like there's 1 to 2 more minutes of episode before the episode starts that explains all this.
That might just be what they always dress like when they're being Hannah's entourage on the show.
Maybe?
I did not realize that part of the premise of this show was that her friends are also in disguise.
Like I said, we haven't seen any other episodes. Listeners, if you know more about this show,
keep it to yourself.
Yeah, we don't
care. We don't give a shit, actually.
Discuss it in the Facebook group and don't tag
the
us
fucking
in it.
randomizer picked this. We don't give a fuck.
The boyfriend is Mitchell Musso, who I only know as the voice of Candace's boyfriend Jeremy on Phineas and Ferb.
So like we said, they're at this celebrity charity auction fundraiser benefit thing to save the beaches. No one bids on Ray Romano because this is a weird pocket dimension where no one's heard of Ray Romano, I guess. And one of Miley's friends takes pity on him and bids $12. But then, in what turns out to be a bit of foreshadowing, Miley's other friend takes one of the dollar bills and sneezes into it like a handkerchief, so all he has is $11 because she's got a cold that's gonna play out later, and it doesn't matter. So then...
So much happens, and yet so little happens.
So then, this bidding war erupts when it's time to bid on a date with Hannah Montana.
The first person who bids on her is this 30-something-year-old looking guy.
Yeah, multiple grown-ass adults place expensive bids on this date with a teen pop star, and just when you think the scene can't get any creepier, it turns into a bidding war between this shit kid, Rico, and Corbin Bleu from High School Musical, which is why this episode is called We're All on This Date Together, a reference to We're All in This Together from High School Musical.
And they also later reference Get Your Head in the Game.
Yeah.
I heard you went to school in Arizona. How was that?
Not bad. Played a lot of basketball. It was so hot, it was hard to get my head in the game.
But they reference it so awkwardly that even the studio audience can't tell at first that they're doing
a studio audience? I thought there's no way the laughter wasn't canned. Even the canned laughter didn't laugh at that.
My understanding is that these shows did use a studio audience, but they did not use much of the actual audio of the studio audience.
They sweetened it like crazy. So anyway, yeah, Corbin Bleu shows up as this character who I'm guessing appeared in the first season. And then there's this kid named Rico, who I looked it up, apparently is a main character in the show because he's Miley's brother's boss. He's this fucking wonderkind who runs that food stand. I don't even remember what food they serve.
He's Montana Max, but
yeah, pretty much. He's Hannah Montana Max.
But like Montana Max if he was getting a jump start on being a rapist.
He's got this huge crush on Hannah Montana. Couldn't give less of a shit about Miley,
and
apparently.
He's a kid. Like,
he's a kid. He's fucking 10 or something.
This is like go to jail levels of kidness.
He shouldn't know what a crush is yet, but somehow he does.
And he's making jokes about taking her home and having sex with her.
Well,
G-rated jokes.
Let's go, love bunny. You can have my salad. I'm taking the main course to go.
But she clearly knows what it means, and it's weird.
And she spends most of this episode just reacting with ugh to things.
There's multiple moments where she tries to do Lucille Ball.
And the little kid playing Rico, he's trying so hard. He has to do most of the comedic acting in this episode.
I don't know
It's
who
like
that
they're trying
kid
to
is.
make Urkel, but an Urkel that makes you feel dirty.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Actually, I prefer Rico's later work as Urkel, the bully from Luca.
by the way, I looked it up. His full name, I shit you not, is Rico Suave. Which no kid is gonna fucking get that reference. No kid watching this in 2008 was alive in 1991.
someone got paid good money to write that on a piece of paper and make it real.
I mean, this is a recurring character, so someone got paid to put that in a show Bible.
That joke went through multiple layers of adult humans who were getting very good salaries.
You've already answered this question for me pretty much, but I just wrote down, how does Rico have $20,000 for a celebrity date, but he has to work at a snack bar?
Well, he owns the snack bar,
He owns the
apparently.
snack bar, and he has no parents, apparently.
There's always money in the banana stand.
I just cannot get over how young these characters are.
This was a form of child labor, and it should not have happened, any of it. And there was one moment which made us all kind of look at each other right before that Rico creep starts bidding on her when she says, I was worried I was going to get stuck with some jerk. Leave me the fuck out of this. And they even do a bit later involving ketchup. What the fuck?
Hannah is having these fantasies about what the date is going to be like with either of these people.
Oh, yeah, with more cutaways than a Family Guy episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think the tune went something like,
If we were a movie, you'd be the right guy. Yeah, I'd be the best friend that you fall in love with.
at one point the kid sings it. And I'm like, if this were a movie, you'd be arrested because that isn't legal. I'm like 11. This is so creepy.
So ultimately, Corbin Blue outbids Rico, and it gets up to $19,000, $20,000. And Donny Osmond says, well, how about this? What if you both throw in that amount of money, and that way we'll raise double the money to save the beaches, and you can both go out on a date with her?
He says if Hannah's okay with this, and then never waits for her answer.
Well, she's under pressure because this is supposed to be a Save the Beaches fundraiser, and what's she gonna do, not save beaches?
Dinner with this celebrity sort of event, they're usually like heavily chaperoned.
Yeah, usually, but not on the Disney Channel.
Whereas in this case, when they eventually show up to the restaurant, the chef there didn't even realize Hannah Montana was going to be there.
Nope.
Oh, that's the biggest star in the world just wandering into this restaurant.
Yeah, this
By
Benihana-esque
herself.
restaurant.
By herself.
I know this is the basic premise of the show, and I know this is getting into fucking Superman Clark Kent territory, but really all she has to do is put on a wig and no one recognizes her? Really? I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person to make that observation. It's possible this show itself has lampshaded that. Maybe I may as well be complaining about the large apartment in Friends. I don't know, but really?
Wigs more powerful than Superman's glasses.
There's a famous story about Marilyn Monroe talking to a reporter and just walking down the street going unrecognized because she was slouching and acting kind of frumpy. And the minute she like changed her posture to quote Marilyn mode, that's when people started recognizing her.
She told the reporter, "Oh, should I be her?"
Yeah.
And she changed her voice, she fluffed out her hair, she struck a pose, and within minutes she was surrounded.
But Miley Cyrus at this age, God bless her, did not have the versatility as a comedic performer to really embody two separate personas.
Right.
The way, again, for the Clark Kent thing, people point to Christopher Reeve as being the first time they believed that people wouldn't be able to recognize they're the same person because he nailed both those performances.
Lance Hunt wears glasses. Captain Amazing doesn't wear glasses. He takes them off when he transforms. That doesn't make any sense. He wouldn't be able to see.
I mean, we joke about these things, but when Weird Al got LASIK surgery and shaved his mustache in the late 90s, no one recognized him for like 5 years.
By the way, Marilyn Mode, the sister of Edna Mode.
Yeah.
Just put on a wig, darling. No one will recognize you.
So in order to try to get this creepy-ass kid to not go on the threesome date, there's so many fucking levels of creepiness to this shit. In order to get that kid to not go on the date, Miley's friend who is sick, they set it up in the prologue, fucking kisses him. Gets him sick by fucking kissing this goddamn 10-year-old.
I feel like we belong on a list.
Why did we watch this? Why is this on Disney Plus?
They're both underage, but one is so much more underage than the other.
You know, earlier this year, when Ron DeSantis and those fucking right-wing assholes kept calling Disney a bunch of groomers, I'm not saying they had a point. I'm just saying when I watch shit like this, I wonder what took them so long to make those accusations.
But DeSantis is totally approving of all the scenes of her friends being very sick, but just being out in public among other people with no concern.
He loves that shit. Absolutely.
It's just weird in this post and continuing pandemic world to see a wacky sitcom plot that involves let's sneeze all over each other and spread disease. It's funny.
It'll be fun. 1 million Americans are dead.
They go heavy on attempted catchphrases in this episode. At one point, Miley drops a "get her done."
Yeah.
Because she's Southern,
the late 2000s were a mistake.
If she doesn't say yeehaw every episode, how will we remember that her character is from the South?
So should we talk about the B plot in this episode?
Billy Ray Cyrus gets sexually harassed. The comedy.
It's more rote sitcom stuff where a woman who is in their house, who I presume is a housekeeper.
Maybe their neighbor or like a coworker or something. Her name is Roxy, and based on this episode, I could not tell you even remotely what her relationship is supposed to be to the rest of these characters. This episode expects you to know that already, and Wikipedia is not helping. Hey folks, just interjecting here to let you know that I did a bit more digging, and it turns out Roxy is Hannah's personal bodyguard. Hannah's personal bodyguard, who is off on her own B-plot, while Hannah is at an awkward, unchaperoned dinner date with the winners of a charity auction. You had one fucking job! It's the day of her high school reunion. She's told everyone that she's married to Billy Ray Cyrus. The mean popular girl from high school is coming to visit, because that's what you do, apparently.
That's how high school reunions work. Just one.
Yeah, everyone goes to one other person's house.
Yes.
Everybody is assigned a friend's house to show up.
Not even a friend, a fucking frenemy.
Yes, if you had a bully or you were bullied, that's your house reunion friend.
So they're pulling this fucking scam where they're pretending that she's married to him and that Miley's brother is her fucking son, and who fucking cares?
Can I just say, I was getting Boba Fett, Jango Fett vibes from Big Billy Ray and Little Billy Ray. I am not convinced there was a mother involved in the meiosis of that cell. That is Billy Ray, and that is a smaller Billy Ray. They are twins, but they are somehow also father and son. If the stormtroopers invade and they all look like Billy Ray Cyrus, I called it.
This is the way, y'all.
Oh, another fucking late 2000s reference. When Roxy is fucking running all over the house trying to set up photoshopped photos of her and Billy Ray Cyrus together on vacation, he stops her and says, "Slow down, Danica Patrick."
Southern references.
Yay, they like
NASCAR.
watching the cars go in circles.
Meanwhile, all of us liberal elite coasters are like, Danica Patrick, wasn't she Winnie on the Wonder Years? The mean popular girl was played by Cheryl Lee Ralph, who was the voice of Rita in Oliver and Company.
Oh, yeah, she's been in a bunch of stuff over the years. I think she's on Abbott Elementary now and just won an Emmy for it. Yeah, she's great. I'm sorry she had to subject herself to this shit.
There was a really transphobic joke where the popular girl says,
"When you walk into that reunion with that man on your arm, everybody who ever thought you were a man, they're gonna owe you an apology."
Oh my God, that's awful.
Transphobic and homophobic.
Yeah,
in one
and then
fell
later
swoop.
on, we see a picture of her, and she's got like this little beard.
She was ugly in high school.
Ugly in high school.
Ugly people have no souls. Should we talk about that piano gag that came back in the cold tag where Miley's brother is pretending he's this piano virtuoso to impress the former mean popular girl? But they lady killers it, where they have a CD player just playing this classical music. The CD starts skipping, and he plays it off as, "I like to give it a hip-hop flair."
Tell me you're a white comedy writer without telling me you're a white comedy writer.
You have the black character pipe up and say, "He got that from me."
But then at the end, he fucking wears a tuxedo and brings out a Liberace candelabra to put on the piano. And when Billy Ray Cyrus says, "Who you trying to fool?" and he tries pressing stop on the CD player and it won't stop. But then it turns out, he had a portable CD player in his tuxedo.
With no visible speakers.
With no speakers. What was he using? That joke doesn't track.
They didn't have Bluetooth speakers yet.
I very much liked his comedic acting and space work and hamming it up. I thought he was really funny doing all those bits.
When he was doing the piano stuff, that was some of the stuff where I was like, okay, this is so over the top that I am kind of enjoying this performance.
Yeah, like he watched so many Looney Tunes being like, okay, this is exactly how exaggerated I need to be.
Then why didn't he blow up when he pressed a certain key?
I was remembering
because he wasn't playing those endearing young charms.
I was remembering a Pink Panther bit where they did exactly that gag. I see where you got this from, whoever got paid to write this.
Basically, every beat of this episode is think of the 5 cliche sitcom directions it can go in and go with the one that's like, well, obviously we won't do this, but...
And then the mean girl makes some mean comments about someone in their yearbook. And Roxy realizes, wait a minute, this mean girl, who I knew was a mean girl and who I hated in high school for being a mean girl, is mean? What? And she fucking chases her out of the house. The mean girl's husband even says, this is why we don't have any friends.
That's actually a good way to end that type of story.
Sure, but it doesn't make it any funnier.
You know what? It doesn't make it funny.
I think the problem with this show's use of sitcom cliches is there's no escalation. Things don't build on each other.
Right.
Until eventually things get wacky in an unmotivated way.
This is a farce of a farce, basically.
A farce is a farce of course.
There's no energy to it. There's no comic momentum. It's just stuff that happens until eventually a big thing happens. And the big thing in the A plot in particular was that obviously Rico's being an annoying little prick on the date, and a fucking Rube Goldberg shenanigan happens where Miley accidentally spills water onto the Benihana grill, and this shocks the fucking Benihana chef, even though at a real Benihana restaurant, that kind of thing would happen like 10 times a night. And his knife cuts a rope, which apparently was holding up this fucking anvil thing in the ceiling, because we live in Muppet Labs, apparently.
See, if only Michelle Yeoh had been a chef at this kitchen in that universe and everything everywhere all at once.
And it fucking catapults Rico up out of his bench with wires. I'm sure if you looked hard enough, you could see the fucking wires. And at first, I thought, oh shit, is this going to go really dark and propel him into the grill and his face will get all disfigured? But no, it propels him into the lobster tank where the lobsters are already red.
They're also plastic.
Obviously, they're plastic, but you can at least get fake plastic dark purplish lobsters like they are before you cook them. Red lobsters are not alive. I'm taking crazy pills here.
Still trying to have sex with Miley Cyrus, by the way.
And Corbin Bleu apparently doesn't pick up on the fact that this creepy kid is a creepy kid. And he just thinks, well, Hannah's being a real jerk to this fucking kid. And he's like, man, you're a jerk. I don't like you anymore. And he just leaves. So she blows her chance with Corbin Bleu.
And Corbin Bleu blew like $20,000 on that night that he just walked out on.
Every time I hear the name Corbin Bleu, I keep thinking it's a cheese-based supervillain. I am Corbin Bleu.
Sacre bleu.
And then at the end, fucking Miley tries just approaching Corbin Bleu as Miley. But she's sick at this point because she picked up the virus that's going around. And so the episode ends with her puking, and that's a perfect metaphor.
Miley Cyrus has a virus. It is not this episode's fault that we didn't know who any of the characters were going into it, because you're not supposed to start towards the end of season 2.
This is season 2, episode 29.
But I don't think knowing who the characters were beforehand would have made watching the things they do funnier.
If you watch practically any episode of a really good sitcom, be it Cheers or Parks and Rec or Fawlty Towers, that's one thing that makes a great sitcom great, is you can watch basically basically any episode, and there might be a few callbacks to earlier episodes that might elude you, but overall, you pretty much know who everyone is and what their connection is to each other. I didn't get that at all from this. This is strictly for people who've been watching since day one.
On a great sitcom, pre-existing knowledge of the characters might enhance a joke. This thing Ron Swanson says is extra funny because it's coming from Ron Swanson. But you still understand why it's funny, even if you haven't met Ron Swanson before.
A sitcom like this in front of a live studio audience is supposed to be accessible, and I had to look up who the fuck the creepy kid was. I shouldn't have had to do that. I resent that it made me.
I hope the creepy kid's doing well wherever he is now.
We could look it up, but I kind of don't
hope he
want
recovered
to.
from whatever trauma caused him to be so hypersexual when he was 10 goddamn years old.
I've decided that I'd rather not know. Because as long as I don't know, it can be whatever I want.
I hope he came through it and he's in a better place now.
So the time has come to answer that question that has baffled mankind and Rico-kind through the ages, namely, what's the attraction? So despite how huge Hannah Montana got, it never really got any proper representation in the parks. In fact, the only park presence it ever got that I know of was a large set piece from the Hannah Montana movie being on display in the queue at the old backlot tour that used to be at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Aside from that, there was no Hannah Montana at the parks, but of course, as we all know, nostalgia works in a 20-year cycle, so in a few years, people are going to be really, really, really nostalgic for Hannah Montana, and I'm sure by then, Miley Cyrus is going to be approaching middle age, and maybe she'll have a little bit more fondness for the youth she wasted on this stupid shit, and she'll abandon some of the cynicism she's had towards it for the last decade or so, and this will be the most watched title on Disney+. How are they going to work this episode specifically into the parks? Luke.
At Epcot, they're going to have the Innoventions Pavilion team up with the Seas Pavilion so that you can scientifically build a Rube Goldberg device that shoots you into a big pool full of lobsters. I'd say crabs, but that'd be far too experimental.
Morgan.
Horny jail is out. Lobster tank is in. Everyone make this a thing. If a child character written by adults is being way too sexual for reasons of comedy, they go in the lobster tank.
And that's at the theme parks?
Yes. Every theme park is going to have a lobster tank, and in it you can dunk your disobedient child, but only if they're being disobedient by being creepily sexual.
Dave?
When you go to any character meet and greet, Ray Romano is going to be lurking behind the character just hoping you notice him.
Well, unfortunately, you're all wrong. They are gonna once again reunite Donny Osmond with the Haunted Mansion. They're gonna add a scene where he's the auctioneer. It's gonna replace the Hatbox Ghost. The fans will love it for some reason. And he's gonna send you on a date with whatever the current pop star du jour on Disney Channel is. It's not going to actually be them. It's going to be some facsimile of it, but it's also going to be you and this really hypersexual 2-year-old. It's not a real 2-year-old. It's an animatronic. Don't worry. It's not weird.
It's like a dummy.
It's the dummy from American Sniper. Naturally, your dinner will be at Teppan Edo, the Benihana-style place at Epcot's Japan Pavilion, but then suddenly, in the middle of your meal, Manny from Ice Age is gonna seek revenge on all you motherfuckers, because Disney owns that now. Ignore me, will you? Only it's Ray Romano, so he says it like, ignore me, will you?
And you're saying Donny Osmond will be auctioning from the Haunted Mansion?
Sure, why not?
I just can't picture a New Orleans Square ride auctioning off people.
I know, right? It's so wrong.
We don't talk about Sid, no, because he's done like with Mo.
So final verdict, folks, I probably don't even have to ask, is Hannah Montana, Season 2, Episode 29, we're all on this date together, a Disney Plus or a Disney Minus? Dave?
Look, I am a defender of the multi-camera sitcom as an art form, and shows like this make it difficult to keep that up. So, Disney Minus.
Morgan?
Dump this episode in the lobster tank. Disney Minus.
Luke?
I really don't like giving Disney Minuses to things, but I do have to side with the two of you thus far with the Disney Minus. I'm sure there's got to be other episodes of this show that are decent and good, but this one I just don't think lives up. So I'm going with Disney minus.
Yeah, it's unanimous. I gotta say Disney minus as well. What you were saying about this maybe just not being one of the better episodes, that is possible because this is episode 29 of 30 of season 2. So the writers were probably checked out by this point. They were waiting to go on vacation. They probably just didn't give a shit anymore. They just threw this thing together. And kids are undiscerning. They'll eat this up no matter what. It's possible that the stuff we consumed as kids was no better than this, but I feel like Kenan and Kel was better than this, you know?
Kenan and Kel at least had energy.
I feel like Clarissa Explains It All was way better than this, you know? Maybe I'm just wearing nostalgia goggles, but I really feel like that. So this show gets a Disney minus, if for nothing else than doing the bait and switch at the beginning where it tricked me into thinking this was a real sitcom by having Ray Romano show up. So fuck you for that. Who's got stuff to plug?
I'm going to plug myself into the wall and see if I can recharge that battery that is now on empty because of bad comedy.
Are you on Twitter as well?
I try not to be, but I'm the wire too on Twitter.
I release videos on youtube.com/Doggans, DOGGANS. As of this episode's release, I did a riff a little while ago of a Superman short where some bad guys keep flying planes into buildings, and I almost accidentally released that on 9/11 until I looked at a calendar.
You can go to thegreatlukeski.com or lukeski.bandcamp.com for my comedy music.
And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Tony Goldmark, and you can also follow this show on Twitter at EFVD Podcast. I've also got a Facebook fan group you can join called Some Jerk with a Fan Club, and I've got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tony Goldmark, where you can find all 3 seasons of my web series, Some Jerk with a Camera, along with a bunch of other videos about movies and theme parks, and even a few scant episodes of this very podcast. You can find every episode of this podcast at pipedreampodcast.com, as well as all the usual outlets like Audible, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. If you like what you've been hearing and you'd like to help us out, please subscribe, please leave a review, please give us 5 stars. All that stuff helps us get discovered by the almighty algorithm. If you'd like to help us out even more, you can donate to my Patreon, patreon.com/Tony Goldmark, where if you pledge any amount, even the bare minimum of $1 a month, you get to hear new episodes of this podcast 1 day early. Once again, that's patreon.com/Tony Goldmark. Huge special thanks to all my patrons. You don't know how much it means to me. And now, I have a rather special announcement to make. Those of you who've been following this podcast closely might have pieced together that this Hannah Montana episode was the 99th episode of Escape from Walt Disney, which of course means the next one is episode 100. And we are going to need some extra time to prepare for such a momentous occasion, so we are taking the next few weeks off, though I will have some minisodes and live tweets for you in the interim, and we will be back on Wednesday, October 12th, Tuesday, October 11th for patrons, with our 100th episode spectacular. But of course, the real question is, what could the topic of our 100th episode spectacular possibly be? Well, Dave, you still have a guest choice option in your back pocket. Now, if you're still not ready to use it, you don't have to. When I say it never expires, I mean it never expires. But I am going to give you first pick because, Dave, you've been on the show more than almost anyone else. Only Luke has been on more episodes than you. And you were the first guest to ever get a guest choice option nearly 2 years ago. So if you're finally ready to use it, I would consider that a more than worthy 100th episode. Or if you're still not ready, no worries there either. I've got another alternate method for picking the 100th episode topic, so no pressure whatsoever. With all that in mind, David Ganssle, would you finally like to use your guest choice option in our 100th episode spectacular on October 12th, or keep it in your back pocket?
For such a momentous episode, I am going to stand up strong and continue to string the people along.
All right.
Anticipation is killing me.
He's still keeping it in his back pocket, folks. That means we're relying on an alternate method for picking our 100th episode topic. But how can one possibly pick the topic for such a cosmically significant event in the history of podcasting? Should it be someone else's guest choice? Should the randomizer pick it? Should I let my listeners decide? Well, how about a combination of all 3. Here's how we're going to do this. My 3 cohorts for this Hannah Montana episode, Luke Ski, David Ganssle, and Morgan Funder, they have been on the podcast more times than anyone else, and right now, each of the 4 of us, including me, is going to read off 3 randomizer picks, so a grand total of 12 between us. Then each of us is going to pick our favorite of the 3 the randomizer gives us individually. Then I'm going to put those 4 favorites into a Twitter poll at EFVD Podcast, and you fine listeners out there will have until Wednesday to vote. And whichever favorite gets the most votes will be our topic for the 100th episode. Dave, you go first.
Smart House, initiate random shuffle mode, please.
Initiating random shuffle mode.
Make 3 selections.
And the winner is
The Simpsons Season 3, Back to the Titanic 2020, and The Proud Family 2001.
Now, obviously, 2 of those are TV shows, which would require picking individual episodes. Would you like to pick your favorite of those 3 now, or would you rather pick the episodes first and then see which one is your favorite?
Let's pick the episodes first.
Okay, so let's see how many episodes there are in Simpsons Season 3. 23 episodes. Okay, so Google random number generator, plug in 1 through 23, see what it gets you.
11.
Season 3, episode 11 is I Married Marge.
Ooh.
All right, now, would you like to pick a Proud Family episode, or would you like to...
I think I Married Marge is a good choice.
All right, The Simpsons Season 3, episode 11, I Married Marge, is going into the Twitter poll. Luke, your turn.
Smart House, initiate random shuffle mode, please.
initiating random shuffle mode.
Make 3 selections.
And the winner is
Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2008.
Oh, God.
Aliens of the Deep 2005.
And what's the last one?
Hollywood Stargirl 2022.
All right, which of those 3 is your favorite?
So at some point recently, using the Disney Movie Rewards program, they eliminated for a while the ability to pick which movie you wanted and said for a number of points you can get a random Blu-ray. So when I entered that, the random Blu-ray I got was Beverly Hills Chihuahua. So I think it's more than a random sign that at 2 different times, randomly, Beverly Hills Chihuahua has come up. I think that's what I gotta go with.
All right, Beverly Hills Chihuahua is going into the Twitter poll. Morgan, your turn.
Smart House, initiate random shuffle mode, please.
initiating random shuffle mode.
Make 3 selections.
And the winner is
The Little Mermaid, 1989. Captain Marvel, 2019. Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, 2014.
Which of those 3 is your favorite, Morgan?
To me, this is the real drama of seeing her pick between Little Mermaid and Captain Marvel.
This is very much a good, the bad, and the ugly situation. But I'm me, and I see a nice shit pot that can be stirred, and I love stirring up some shit, so I pick Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, all right.
Morgan, I cannot believe you would pick a movie that has a cat and outer space in it.
What can I say? I have a very specific niche.
Captain Marvel is going in the Twitter poll, and now for the first time ever, I am going to personally read off a randomizer pick. 3 of them, in fact. Smart House, initiate random shuffle mode, please.
initiating random shuffle mode.
Make 3 selections.
And the winner is
Awesome Animals 2017, The Kid Who Would Be King 2019, and The Simpsons Season 14. You know, since there was already a Simpsons episode picked for this, I think I'm going to go with The Kid Who Would Be King. So, the topic of our 100th episode will either be Beverly Hills Chihuahua, Captain Marvel, The Kid Who Would Be King, or The Simpsons Season 3, Episode 11, I Married Marge. Go vote now! The 100th episode poll is on Twitter at EFVD Podcast, or you can access it directly at tinyurl.com/EFVD100, and you all have until 11 a.m. Pacific on Wednesday, September 21st to vote. And be sure to join us on Wednesday, October 12th for the Escape from Walt Disney 100th episode spectacular! Yay!
on home where your video's playing. Good times are waiting, it's true. Come where your family is waiting for Walt Disney and you. Walt Disney and you. Walt Disney and you.
You know, I gotta admit, I was kind of nervous I was gonna get stuck with some jerk.